Welcome into Georgia High School Sports Daily, powered by IBEW, Local 613. From the Breda Pest Management Sports Desk, I'm your host, Landon Knight, alongside Craig Sager. Happy Friday, Craig. We have a super fun show ahead today, but I want to start with a reminder that tonight we will have our GHSA Drive for the State Title bracket show from 7:30 to 10:30. That's going to be on Atlanta News First and the Peachtree Sports Network. Craig, I'm super excited for tonight. We're going to get the chance to hear from a coach from each classification. We're going to break down all the brackets, talk about all the matchups that you don't want to miss. But I just want to start off by asking, how competitive is the talent in the state of Georgia when it comes to all these classifications?
Well, it's amazing. We know the stats with the college prospects, how many players from the state of Georgia make it to the NFL, how per capita it's the most talented. But what I think is interesting about Georgia that separates it, it's the coaching. This is a state that has better coaching opportunities, whether it's the pay salaries, their pension they receive. And so we have some of the best coaching anywhere in the country, all centralized in Georgia. So I think that's another thing that really prepares these kids for the next level. They also, there's this understanding when you play high school football in Georgia, it doesn't matter if you're Class 2A, Class 6A, 5A, you're going to be able to share that experience later. And we see that every year at the Hall of Fame with all these guys talking about who some of the best players they played against were. You have the great North Georgia Metro Atlanta teams versus the South Georgia powerhouses. There's just so much about this state that makes it unique.
And Craig, in a little while, we're going to get to hear from our friend Reggie Graham. He's just going to break down some of the teams, some of the growth that he's seen this season. But when you look at a lot of the programs that are having success this year, they've had a lot of growth since last year. Who are some of the programs you've seen grow?
Wow, that's a good question. I think since last year, sorry, I've got to get used to these cameras. I think one of the teams that has really impressed me is Creekside. They've just come out with a sharper focus this year. Teams like Carver, Atlanta really looks strong right now. I'm looking at teams like Morgan County. I really like what they're doing. North Hall, their senior experience. There's a lot of teams that have always been consistent, have always been in that conversation, but they look like they're peaking at the right time. They've been able to find ways to improve throughout the season. I think there's going to be a lot of intriguing matchups. I'm looking forward to tonight to just look at all these brackets, hear from Rusty, hear some of the different perspectives on how we think this is going to shake out. We were talking about who some of our championship picks are, and it's very divided. I feel like in the past, you would look at it and maybe half the score team's picking the number one ranked team, half's picking the two. There's a lot of different perspectives right now. And then when you look at the bracket, some of the early matchups that are really going to throw things off, I think it's going to be an interesting show.
And then, Craig, you also mentioned Morgan County. On the bracket show tonight, we're going to get to hear from their head coach, Clint Jenkins. But when you look at this Morgan County team, what do you like about them? What makes them stand out? And how do you see them doing into the playoffs?
I think Coach Jenkins is just an outstanding coach. He's been at Decula before. I've been impressed with him there. This is a team that is very tough. They have a good blend of senior leadership, senior experience, but also emerging talent. And then I was impressed with how they were able to compete against Callaway late in the season. I think that was their regular season finale. Callaway's a great team, top 5, top 6. They were able to handle business, and they've come very close. I believe they're the number 2 overall seed behind Carver, Atlanta in that Class 2A, so they're going to have home field. It's a big opportunity for them.
Now let's take a look at our Fast Break headlines. Max Preps Basketball 2025 through 2026 National High School Basketball rankings have been announced, and Marietta's Wheeler comes in at number 5. Craig, we got to talk about this Wheeler team earlier this week. Not only are they at the top of your polls, but they're also nationally ranked. What kind of expectations or pressure does this put on programs heading into the season?
Yeah, so many. I mean, the expectations are always high at Wheeler, but I thought it almost took me by surprise, but Hayden pointed out when we were covering the basketball rankings that this might be one of the most talented Wheeler teams, which is crazy to think about, but it's true. And we're going to get to see them get tested right out of the gates per usual. They're going to open up the season against Tri-Cities, a defending state champ, super talented team. Then they're going to play Webb out of Tennessee, and then they have a matchup against McEachern, number 3, number 4 in most of the polls in Class 6A. So they have this national rankings. These are going to be 3 very tough matchups out of the gate. I'm looking forward to it.
Are there any players for this Wheeler team that you're looking forward to seeing?
Colvin Landrew, he's a UConn commit. He is the real deal, leadership on both sides, but they're loaded top to bottom.
Now let's take a look at headline 2. Class of 2026 D-line Tico Crittenton decommits from Florida State. The 6'4", 285-pound athlete is from Lithonia. He had been committed to the Seminoles since June, and he holds a total of 37 offers. Craig, when you look at his size and skill, he has that size and skill that fits almost any system. What kind of program do you think best suits his game?
Yeah, I mean, he's a defensive lineman that can make a ton of tackles. He's a run stopper. He can plug the middle. He's one of those rare high school talents that's been at 300 pounds for the majority of his career. I'm interested because we've seen Florida State usually is a school that's involved with a lot of these flips, but then again, we've seen a bunch of it lately. We'll see if he wants to end up going the SEC route, but it's a late decommitment. This happened on November 5th, so it comes late into the cycle for him.
Now let's take a look at headline 3. Kamari Miles has also decommitted from North Carolina. He originally committed on April 7th after a spring visit to Chapel Hill. According to Rivals rankings, Miles is the number 119 recruit in Georgia, number 181 wide receiver nationally for this 2026 class. During his senior season, he helped Carver to a 10-0 record and has recorded 4 receiving touchdowns this fall. He also holds offers from major programs including the Bulldogs, USC, Texas A&M, Georgia Tech, and the Memphis Tigers. Craig, what does Miles bring to this Carver offense?
Well, yeah, just that explosive, unstoppable offense that we've seen them have. This year, there's been that one matchup against Sumter County. They kind of got shut down, but he's a player that has been contributing since he was an underclassman. He's one of the main reasons they were able to win the state title last year. He's been committed to UNC, I think, since April. I remember it was before the season. So it is interesting because typically you think you want to commit before the season so you can focus on the road ahead. But there's so much movement in college football now with transfer portals, the opportunities. So it's not as uncommon anymore to see these flips, but certainly you're going to see him just showcasing the speed and ability out wide.
Taking a look at headline 4, GHSA releases classification for the 2026 through 2028 cycle, and schools have until this Sunday, November 9th at 12 to appeal a request to move to a higher classification. The instructions for appeals and requests to move to a higher classification are on the GHSA website. Craig, we haven't really got to talk about this yet, but just kind of break down what this classification process means and what's going to change for schools.
Yeah, well, we're going to break it down. Once the appeals are over and it's going to be solidified, then we'll really be able to take a look at it. But what's been interesting is the conversation about how much do you want to count the out-of-zone students. There's been a multiplier that's been applied in the years. It used to be every out-of-zone student counted as 1.5. Then they bumped it up to 2. So you're seeing some teams or some schools where Woodward Academy to me is the perfect example. It's a private school. Their student body has, I think, 90% of the students are out of district, so that's why they're classed up. They're typically content to just play wherever they end up. But there's some other schools where I think based off the region they want to participate in, Benedictine's an example. I think we've seen it with some of the other private schools. They'll want to maybe play up just so they can have a region that's more competitive, but also closer with less travel. But this to me is one of the most challenging things the GHSA has to do and deal with every 2 years.
Now let's take a look at headline 5. Caden Fife is announcing his commitment on November 21st, and he has narrowed down his top 4 to Auburn, Georgia Tech, Tennessee, and Texas A&M, and he is listed as the number 241 overall prospect and number 29 defensive lineman in this 2026 cycle by the Rivals industry ranking. Craig, what have you seen from him in his time at Chattooga?
Chattooga is a very talented program. We saw Zayden Cook last year leading the the entire state in rushing. He's this other prospect that's going to be able to put them on the map. He's 6'5", 300 pounds already. He can add even more size. And usually when you look at that defensive line position, Reggie might disagree because he's a towering giant over there. We'll have him on the show, but 6'5" at this stage of the game, he is a massive prospect.
And Craig, you mentioned that we're going to get to hear from Reggie right after this, but I just want to extend the same question to you. With this 4A classification, it's very, very competitive. You have teams like Creekside and North Oconee. How are you expecting these teams to do into the playoffs?
Well, I think Creekside, what's impressed me is just the pace they've played. I think they're so well conditioned, and Caden Benson said it after the Rome game when they were down in that game by, I think, 3 touchdowns. They ended up winning by 20 points. He said that their confidence comes from the work they put in the offseason. A lot of teams will say that, but I really think Creekside embodies that. They are so tough, so dedicated. They almost have this tunnel vision where none of the outside noise matters. You look at how close Creekside has come to state championships the last few years. I think this group is just really hyper-focused. They aren't going to let the distractions play out, and if you want to beat them, you have to be well-conditioned and prepared for that four-quarter game.
As I mentioned, right after this, we're going to get to hear from our friend Reggie Graham. We're going to break down a lot more of these teams. We'll be right back after this short break with more Georgia High School Sports Daily. Stay tuned.
Nobody wants to hear the word roaches because who wants to admit they have roaches?
I actually found some weird roaches. I didn't know what they were. I decided to choose Breda. I reached out to them. They check in routinely. They're explaining what they're doing. So there's a lot of clarity in the process as well. I think that just speaks to the level of safety that I feel with the organization.
The facts are, roaches are everywhere in our environment. So what are you doing to keep them out of your home?
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
For a healthier future together, look to Northside Hospital.
This makes my dad proud. He went through his whole career as an employee. Now I'm the employer, something he didn't achieve.
We are signatory to IBEW and do IBEW people wherever we go that we feel like they are faster and better than any of our competition.
The advantages of being a signatory contractor is you're trained employees. You have unlimited manpower. It allows me to bid on jobs that I ordinarily would not go after.
Man, you know how to do this? Man, I don't even know. I was flipping burgers last week.
Violation, unsportsmanlike conduct, impersonating a craftsman.
Skilled trade unions are well-trained career pros, not part-timers. Construction is a rewarding and lucrative career with the advancement potential, but you have to do it the right way with the right training. Learn how you can be a pro. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
You may know Tidal Wave Auto Spa as the world's greatest car wash, but did you know Tidal Wave also has the easiest fundraiser? So easy, our mascots think they can do anything, like making the big play on the big stage. Okay, maybe just a dream, but it is a super easy fundraiser. Just sell wash tickets and watch the money come in. If your team, school, church, or group needs funds, go to TidalWaveAutospa.com and get started today.
Georgia's Rome is the place to be this holiday season. Visit our vibrant downtown. Enjoy live concerts. Go ice skating. Shop holiday markets. And book a Christmas trolley tour. Make your weekend getaway one to remember. Plan your fun now at romegeorgia.org.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 613. Electrify your career. And by Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters.
Welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. We are at the Breda Pest Management Sports Desk, and now we'll welcome our friend Reggie Graham to the studio. Reggie, we have our bracket show tonight that we've been talking a lot about. Just start by breaking us down with some of your sleeper teams this year and what you've seen from them offensively and defensively.
Well, I mean, I've been talking about it all year, man. Benedictine is one of my sleeper teams in 4A. You know, there's no telling what they can do out on the field, but you look at that connection between Cannon, you look at that connection with him and Boobie Frazier, and then you got, you know, Mallard in the backfield. They really got a lot of guys there that can play, and then obviously we know what they bring on the defensive side of the ball.
And then, Reggie, just talk about some of the teams that you've seen improve from last season.
I think looking at some teams that improved in last season, I think I'll start over in Class A, Division II, looking at Screven County. And Screven County is led by quarterback DeMarco Wood and running back A.B. Hilton. Those guys together have over 2,000 total yards rushing on the ground. They actually have 32 of the team's 38 total rushing touchdowns. And they went 10-0 this year after, you know, I think they won 6 games or 4 games the year before. So they've been doing really, really well. And they won the region, and they have a chance to really do some things in the playoffs. Just looking at Northgate, too. I mean, everybody's been talking about Northgate all year. You can see what Northgate has been doing. And over there in 5A, you know, you got Bryson Davies there. He leads the team in tackles on the season, and that's something special. That's something that he wanted to do. He talked about how his brother had led the state in tackles the year before, and he was like, you know, this is a goal of mine. This is something that I want to do, and this was something he was able to do. And 156 tackles, man, that's really good. And then looking at running back, they got the sophomore running back, Woody. I don't know if it's Scatini or Shatini, but 212 carries, 1,400 yards, 18 touchdowns on 6.5 yards per carry, man. That guy's really balling out for Northgate as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. I got to cover the Northgate-Hughes game. I was really impressed. The game kind of got away from them with that chaotic goal line play or whatever, and then Hughes ran away with it. But let's stick to Class 5A because I feel like that one's really interesting.
Yeah.
Thomas County Central looks pretty unstoppable, but we've seen Roswell, we've seen Milton, Gainesville, Hughes, all these other teams. How do you think 5A might, at the end of this playoffs, be one of the more intriguing brackets?
I think it's going to be interesting with 5A, definitely interesting. You got some potential matchups that are interesting to me. It's like Roswell potentially could get matched up with TCC. That's almost like a Lee County versus TCC last year when you got Coach Thompson and you got what TCC is doing. They are very familiar with what TCC does, and the way that Roswell plays, they're going to always put themselves in position to win a game. And so you never know how that one works out. And then you got, you know, Hughes going to be doing what they're doing. You got Gainesville out there. They're still a good team. Milton, still a good team. And Derek Baker, man, I'm hearing he's coming back for the playoffs. I talked to him, and he said that he didn't want to say anything or didn't want to put anything out there, but I'm pretty confident this guy's going to be back for the playoffs. He wants to be a part of this team. He wants to lead this team to the playoffs. He told me, he said, I am the QB1 for Milton.
And Reggie, Grayson and Buford potentially have the opportunity to see each other in the state championship. What would be key in getting this one?
I think when you look at 2 super talented teams, it's all about the margins, right? It's all about what you can do in the margins. Can you stop the run, right? Can you have gap integrity, right? Can you move the ball up and down the field consistently without creating turnovers? I think that's going to be the most important thing for them. They have to be able to move the ball, either team. Move the ball, be confident at the quarterback position, because when you get into those, you know, you play a lot of teams that you blow out, right? You play a lot of teams that you can win, you score 50 points, like it's not a big deal. But when you play in these teams that are close and these games that are tight, you know, now you're leaning on those leaders and specifically those quarterbacks to make those big passes and make those big plays that needs to be made.
Yeah, and then Buford, they got an interesting matchup against Richmond Hill in the first round. Speaking of Richmond Hill, I want to talk about that Region 1 and the big win by Valdosta over Lowndes to close out the season. A disappointing result for Lowndes, but what do you think that just did to kind of shake up the conversation in 6A?
I think what it's doing is just putting other things into perspective. A lot of people are just kind of having an idea of like, oh, this team is going to win, or this team is going to win, or this team is going to win. And it's not that simple, right? Styles make fights, you know, and these guys come in with, they know each other. It's a big rivalry game. That's something that they've been preparing for. Both teams probably know exactly what they're going to do, when they're going to do it, and why they're going to do it. So when you get in those type of situations, it doesn't matter. It's like Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Georgia Tech. It doesn't matter. But when you get into the playoffs and you've played teams that have been able to watch your rivalry game and watch somebody that knows exactly what you're going to do, it kind of gives other teams a little bit of an advantage because they know how to scheme, because they can scheme you off of the way that your opponent just schemed you the week before.
And Reggie, right before the break, me and Craig were talking about this 4A classification. You have North Oconee here. They've dealt with some injuries this season with quarterback Harrison Faulkner and with Kamari Brooks. But then at Creekside this season, you have Caden Benson. What he's been able to do on their offense has been absolutely incredible. Just talk about your takes on both of these teams.
I think when it comes to North Oconee, I think they're still working to try to figure out what they could do on the offensive end, which is surprising. I would have thought that the biggest drop-off would have been on the defensive side of the ball, but because of what, that guy brings to the field when, he got injured, Kamari Brooks, I think is his name, and his injury really hurt them on the offensive end and what they want to do offensively. So I think that defensively, they figured it out. They know what they want to do. They know what they're going to be. With or without him, they're going to keep fighting and they're going to keep playing. But offensively is where they run into a little bit of issues. And then looking at Creekside, 614 points or 641 points or something like that, the best in the state in the regular season. What they're doing, what they've been doing is something that really doesn't make sense. It's really unprecedented. And you wonder, like Hillgrove going into McEachern, when they beat every team, their defense dominated, their offense dominated. You wonder, when you get into these tough matchups, will this stuff still stick through? Will it hold on? Or will they start to, find some flaws? And you don't want to find those flaws in the playoffs because one loss will knock you out.
And then, Reggie, I wanted to talk about 3A for a moment. We saw last year Calhoun was kind of a surprise team that ended up they missed the playoffs the year before. They ended up winning the state title. They've had a great season. There's a lot of competitive teams in Class 3A, but how do you see it playing out this year?
I really think that when you get to 3A, it's all about if you can stop the run, then you can make a statement. I think the best teams in 3A run the ball very efficiently and very effectively. When you look at Stevenson, when you look at Sandy Creek, when you look at Calhoun, as you said. Calhoun is special, though. Calhoun is able to pass the ball and able to run the ball. They got Jet Beasley there, right? They got that guy there that is all-world receiver, and he just does a lot of great things for the team. So I think that when you're looking at Calhoun or you're looking at the rest of the teams in the 3A, you really have to stop the run, and that's going to be a big deal with determining who comes out on top in 3A.
And then let's talk real quick about Hebron Christian, the type of season they've had. And they're going to have that first-round bye, but have you been kind of impressed with the step forward they've taken this year under Coach Dallas?
I think I'm not surprised by what they did, to say the least. Like, they already won state championships. They already had a standard there. Coach Dallas came in there and just upheld the standard that they already had and then elevated the team to a way that they felt, hey, no matter who we play, no matter what the situation, we're going to go in and win the game regardless. And they probably had that idea, that belief before then, but just going in there and seeing what they did and seeing how they continuously compete and dominate teams that a lot of teams didn't expect them to win. Look what they did to Prince Avenue Christian, so it's really interesting to watch how they play, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they do in the playoffs.
Then, Reggie, what's one of your, maybe not a hot take, but a championship prediction that you're really confident in?
Oh, man. Championship prediction that I'm going to be confident in. I'm going to stay with Benedictine, right? I'm going to take Benedictine to win the 4A. I think that when it's all said and done, those guys come out to play. Coach Britt knows what he needs to do with those guys, and I'm still looking forward to what Benedictine's going to do this season.
Well, Reggie, we're definitely excited to see how things play out, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back after this short break with more Georgia High School Sports Daily. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. We are at the Breda Pest Management Sports Desk, and as we've been mentioning all week, tonight we will have our GHSA Drive for the State Title bracket show. You can tune in here starting at 7:30. We'll be here till 10:30, just breaking down each classification, getting the opportunity to hear from coaches talking about the best matchups. You can tune in on Atlanta News First or the Peachtree Sports Network. But guys, first I just want to talk about the undefeated teams that are still left. When you look at this compiled list, every single program is absolutely outstanding. But when you have teams on this list like Grayson, Buford, Carrollton, McEachern, Thomas County Central, which of these teams do you guys think is going to have the easiest route to this state final?
Oh, man. Well, I think you could probably take Grayson and Carrollton out of the conversation because they would potentially have to square off in the quarterfinals, where I think McEachern and Buford, that would be a semifinal matchup. But, I mean, when you look at Carrollton, this is a team that you'd expect to win that region, go undefeated. Same with Grayson. Buford's I feel like they've been exceptional. They're trying to win the first ever state title in the highest classification, but McEachern's the most interesting team to me because this region was difficult. We know how good Harrison and Hillgrove were this year. McEachern has found ways to improve throughout the season, I feel like. The defense is playing well. They aren't turning the ball over. The passing game's starting to come alive. So I'm really interested to see, is this year McEachern can make that big run?
Yeah, when it comes to easiest path, that's a lot harder to determine, but I can guarantee you the ones it's not any of those teams in 4A. As Reggie was talking about, that class is just so loaded right now. I mean, you have these 4 undefeated teams. You're missing teams like Benedictine, Ware County, just so many really high-end teams that are playing really good football. It's more than just these 4 undefeated teams. Same thing with Class 6A. There's so many really, really good teams. I mean, Douglas County is really good. Their 2 losses are to Carrollton, Hughes, and Beaufort, 3 undefeated teams. So when you look at these top classifications, I feel like it's really, really tough for anyone to make that run to the finals undefeated. I mean, we saw what Grayson was able to do last year with the loss to Collins Hill in the first week of the season. They ran the gauntlet and won 14 straight games, won a state championship handily over an undefeated Carrollton team. It's so hard in these top 3 classifications to go undefeated and win a state title.
And I want to look at this 5A bracket, but here we've talked about Thomas County Central a lot this week. So when you look at the bracket, in my opinion, it looks like they have the clear favor to win state. First, they're going to see Woodstock, then potentially going to see Woodward, and I have them seeing Hughes in the championship. But when you look at what they've done this season, offensively and defensively, they're putting up very high numbers. Defensively, they've had many shutouts this season, but do you guys think that they're the clear favorite to win state in this 5A classification?
I'm not sure clear favorite. 5A is really, really loaded this year. I mean, when you look at the most talented teams, I don't think Thomas County Central is the most talented team. What I will say is I feel like they had the fewest holes. Every position has at least 2 or 3 really good players at it, where a team like Gainesville, I think, may be the most talented team in the state when you just look at pure talent. However, they have more holes than a team like Thomas County Central. I feel like there's a lot of talent on this Thomas County Central team that is in really good places. They have a senior quarterback that started 3 years. They have 2 or 3 really good wide receivers. I think they should be the favorite, but clear favorite I think is a bit of an exaggeration. I think that team like Hughes will be able to challenge them in the end.
I have a question for Hayden. So Thomas County Central, I feel like they've got a great defense. They've got a secondary that could man up the coverage. They can be aggressive, but who do you think in 5A has been probably the more consistent or championship level defense this year?
I think it is Thomas County Central. When you look at everything they've done, they've dominated everyone they've played. Everyone else has had at least a week or 2 that you kind of just grit your teeth and go, that wasn't a great week. You look at Gainesville. Gainesville on paper is the best defense in the state. That front 7 is loaded with 3- and 4-star and even a 5-star guy. But against Roswell, it didn't matter. Roswell just kind of ran it down their throat and took advantage of them, put up 30-something points, won that game. So when you look at just as a whole, Thomas County Central is the only one that's put in this really good result week in and week out.
And what do you expect with the Coffee-Sequoia rematch this year? After last year, we saw the state rushing record against Sequoia. I feel like this is a tough matchup for Coffee just based on what happened last year.
I mean, Coffee lost a lot from last year's team. That was a really good semifinal team. However, I think when you look at it this year, Sequoia is the senior-led team. They're the team that maybe is a little more talented at the higher classes of that team. I think it's going to be really tough for Coffee to win, but they definitely can because this is one of the best coached teams in the state.
And then, guys, I want to talk more about the 6A classification. We talked a little bit about Harrison today. Earlier this season, we got to see Harrison and McEachern play each other. And you mentioned this McEachern team is very dominant, but Harrison was still able to keep a dog in the fight for the majority of that game. They're going to see Marietta in the first round of the playoffs. What is it going to take for Marietta to be able to stop Harrison?
Oh, man. I think Harrison's got one of the better passing attacks we've seen this year. Going up against McEachern, their defense, the one thing that Harrison was able to do successfully was move the ball through the air. I feel like they have that going for them, and it's going to be tough for Marietta to stop.
Yeah, I think if Marietta wants to win this game, they're going to have to put pressure on Harrison's quarterback in the pass game. They have a really good defensive front. That's really been the strength of this defense through the majority of the year. I think they have to get after the quarterback and really make it hard for them to throw the ball.
And then, guys, also with the 4A classification, Creekside, we always talk about their offense, how highly performing their offense is, but when you look at their record from this season, not only have they been performing so well offensively, but they've also been able to shut out teams by a massive margin. What have you seen from their defense this season?
To me, Creekside's success just comes from their mindset and attitude. Their focus, going out there each day, not being afraid of their opponent, having this confidence defensively that they can go out there and win the matchup. I think it all comes from the mindset they carry.
Yeah, I think it's just the culture that Coach Dixon has built over there. When everything is put together, this is really one of their less talented teams. A few years ago, they had one of the most talented teams they've ever had. I believe they lost in the semi or quarterfinals. This year, they don't have that 4 or 5-star player on that team, but they're playing just better team football. They're really explosive. There's not a weak link on the offense. And then when you go to the defensive side of the ball, they're just playing good complementary football. They're really shutting teams down. Now, they haven't played the toughest region schedule. I don't think that's a question. But they've done everything they need to, and they've taken care of business, and they've done everything you want to see out of them going into the playoffs.
And then earlier this season, we also got the chance to see Jefferson and North Oconee face off with each other. But in this 3A classification, with this Jefferson team, they suffered an injury earlier on this season with linebacker Max Brown. What is it going to take for Jefferson to be successful in the playoffs?
I think when you look at Jefferson, this is a Jefferson team that's a lot younger than last year. Last year, they were really senior-led. I think they can make a run. They have a pretty favorable playoff matchups in the first few rounds. I think it's going to come down to how good their defense can play. And even without Max Brown, they played really good defensively. They've really shut out most of their opponents. They just have to continue to do that and hope they can score enough points against the opposing offenses to really give them a chance to win.
Again, you can tune in here tonight for our GHSA Drive for the State Title bracket show starting at 7:30. Stick around with us until 10:30. It will be on Atlanta News First and the Peachtree Sports Network. We'll be right back after this short break with more Georgia High School Sports Daily. Stay tuned.
Customer service is everything in our industry, and one thing our clients love is when they call Breda, they get a live representative. At Breda, you get the attention you need and deserve right when you call in. Your appointment gets scheduled right then and there, and you get a specific time, no window of arrival. Our staff are your neighbors. They know what's going on in your community, and they're invested in doing it better.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
A journeyman with Local 85, when you turn out, you can be hitting 6 figures.
Hey, I have your back, you have my back. We're gonna do this together. We're one for all for one.
College just wasn't for me. Let's look into actual career jobs that wouldn't take college, where I wouldn't, lose money and all that. Instead of losing a lot more money at the end, why not make money and make more money at the end?
You may know Tidal Wave Auto Spa as the world's greatest car wash, but did you know Tidal Wave also has the easiest fundraiser? So easy, our mascots think they can do anything, like making the big play on the big stage. Okay, maybe just a dream, but it is a super easy fundraiser. Just sell wash tickets and watch the money come in. If your team, school, church, or group needs funds, go to TidalWaveAutoSpa.com and get started today.
Nothing is as pure and special as high school sports in the state of Georgia. And Score Atlanta is its #1 fan. High school sports are about families, kids chasing their dreams, communities supporting their teams year in and year out, neighborhood signs, and off-season workouts when nobody's looking. It's the biggest stage that young athletes get to climb for the very first time. And Score Atlanta wants to connect your brand with Georgia high school sports in ways that have never been available before. In addition to our Georgia High School Sports Daily Show, Score Atlanta provides continuous coverage of the Georgia high school football season through its televised games, stories, and rankings. Score Atlanta puts on some of the most notable events like the Corky Cal Dave Hunter Classic, the Georgia High School Football Hall of Fame, and the Georgia Elite Classic. All of these elements offer sponsors exclusive opportunities and exposure. So let's talk about how you can reach millions of people who enjoy Georgia high school sports. For more information, contact Score Atlanta today.
Welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. We are at the Breda Pest Management Sports Desk, and now we will welcome recruiting analyst for Dogs 247, Ben Walk. Ben, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, awesome. Appreciate y'all having me.
So, Ben, we've spent a lot of time this week talking about this North Oconee team. They won state last year. This year, they've dealt with a lot of injuries with quarterback Harrison Faulkner and edge Kamari Brooks. What have you seen from this team this season, and how well do you see them doing into the playoffs?
Well, I think you nailed it. I mean, this is a team that really has been bludgeoning teams for the last 2 years. They've been dominant in their classification. They've been the best football program in the 4A classification for the better part of 2 years now, but they've got some key injuries at some key positions. I know it's unfortunate for them heading into the playoffs to be without their star Georgia commit, Kamari Brooks, on the defensive side of the ball. Also plays a lot of tight end for them. Harrison Faulkner at quarterback, I think, has been one of the more underrated players in the state of Georgia, and he's banged up now as well. So still a great team. There's still a lot of talent across the board. I think that it's one of the most well-coached football programs in the state of Georgia. And so they're going to be ready for whoever it is they're up against. I just don't think that the margin of victory that they've grown accustomed to over the last couple of years is going to be sustainable with some of those injuries in the key spots where they have them.
And Ben, we spoke earlier this week with Bowden head coach about Caden Prothro. What have you seen from him this season?
This might be a pedestrian opinion from me on Caden Prothro, but he's just a freak. Like, he's 6'7", right? Like, there's not many high school football players that you run into that have his frame that are able to make the plays that he's able to make. So I'm not saying anything groundbreaking when I say 6'7", 220 pounds, had 4 touchdown catches last week. Like, you just don't come across that type of athlete very often in high school football. And I think that's why Georgia's elected to take 3 tight ends in the 2026 recruiting class, because they've got a couple guys from the Midwest, Lincoln Keys and Braden Fogel, but then you've got this guy in your own backyard that is he a wide receiver? Is he a tight end? Does it really matter? Probably not. He's someone that you just want to feature in your offense and get him the ball, and that's what Bowden does really, really well, and I know that's what Todd Hartley and Georgia are going to want to do moving forward as well, too.
Then, Ben, last Friday night, we broadcasted one of the best high school games I've seen in a while, that Roswell Milton game. It had everything in it, the game-winning field goal. What do you think that win kind of means to the future of that rivalry?
Well, for starters, Roswell is a program that's probably, when we've talked about powerhouses around the state of Georgia, especially in the metro Atlanta area, they've probably been overlooked from time to time in recent history. And, when you go toe-to-toe with a 2-time defending state champion like Milton, and I know Milton's had their own challenges this year with injuries and things like that have held them back a little bit offensively, but to get a win like that, I think just tells you heading into the postseason, like, you can hang with anyone, you can beat anyone, you have the opportunity in any given matchup to advance to the next round. And I think when you get to this time of year, you got to be careful with that, because you don't want expectations to end up being your downfall. But I think catching a win like that right before playoff time only sets you up for success from a confidence standpoint in your locker room.
And then, Ben, I wanted to ask about the losing side of that matchup, one of the best offensive lineman prospects we've seen come out of the state in a long time, freshman Lane G. Just what have you seen from him?
It's, sort of like I was talking about with Caden Prothro. Like, certain guys, you don't even have to throw on the film. You don't have to know what their recruiting pedigree is. You walk out to a football field and you see them, and you hear a coach say, that guy's, in the 2028 class, that guy's in the 2029 class, and you say, wow, most guys his age don't look like that. Like, as someone who covers UGA football recruiting, I'm almost trained to go out to a football field and see who are the guys that just look different, who are the unicorns out there, because those are the types of players that Georgia is typically trying to sign. And for a freshman to look like that and be having the role that he has at that classification for that program that earlier in his career, I think the results and who he is as a prospect sort of speaks for itself.
And then I wanted to ask about the other Milton High School. Cambridge has one of the best weapons in the entire state. Craig Dandridge, Georgia commit. Just what does he bring to this team heading into the playoffs?
Well, as the high school football playoffs start to ramp up, I mean, I think that he's someone that just about anyone has to be excited to see. And you look at some of the matchups that are possible for him as well in his classification, like that they're going to have the opportunity just in their quadrant to have some really fun matchups if they're able to advance. I mean, they've got Ola in the first round. They've got potentially Central Carrollton or Tucker in the next round. You look down at the bottom part of that bracket. I mean, they could end up running into Benedictine in the Elite Eight there. And so this is a player that's as fun as any player in the state of Georgia. He's really dominated his classification for the last 2 years. And going into his junior season, I don't think a whole lot of people really knew much about Craig Dandridge. And with Georgia recruiting you and you being committed there and getting recruited by all the various programs, Oklahoma, LSU, Clemson, that recruited him during his process, of course, he's going to reach a national profile. People are going to know who he is. But I just saw him play a couple of weeks ago out when they played Kell. And for starters, Kell dominated that game. Kell really impressed me with what they were able to do. And quite frankly, that defensive backfield did a pretty good job of managing Craig Dandridge. But even still, even in all of that, he still has highlight reel plays. He still has a one-handed catch. He still makes a crazy sideline catch with Kirby Smart standing right there watching him during the game as well. So you're a pretty safe bet, as much as just about any player that I've seen in the metro area, maybe since Mike Matthews, where if you go out to one of his games, he's going to make some highlight reel play, and you can pretty much bet that you're going to come away with a really good looking clip.
And Ben, Buford could potentially face Grayson in the state finals. They have running back Ty Green. Just what does he bring to this offense?
Well, Boogie Green is probably, not to take a shot at our own 24/7 sports scouting guys because they do an unbelievable job, but I think he's the most underrated commitment in Georgia's 2026 recruiting class. He does everything for Buford. He returns punts, he returns kicks, he plays defense, he plays running back. I mean, this is a guy that Georgia loves as a star safety type in their defense moving forward. But when I watch his film, it's like, how are you not going to have the ball in this guy's hands? I mean, he's got a touchdown every week, whether that be on offense or in special teams. A lot of times he has more than one touchdown. So I think there's a lot of people, if you're matchup hunting in the high school football playoffs this year, I think everyone's sort of thinking, all right, can Grayson get out of their half of the bracket? Can Buford get out of their half of the bracket? If so, you've got a Buford versus Grayson matchup that's probably two of the top 5 teams in the entire country when it comes to high school football facing off against one another. But as we know, 6A in Georgia is one of the most competitive classifications in the United States. And so getting out of their respective halves of their brackets is not any kind of guarantee for either side.
And then, Ben, I want to ask you just what's maybe a sleeper team or kind of a hot take you're interested in seeing in the playoffs?
It's a good question. That's a good question. I mean, I guess a team that I think is playing really good football, and this isn't like a wild take because they've been good in the past, but Carrollton has really just controlled every game that they've been in. And I think as the year has gone on, their freshman quarterback, CJ Cipher, has come more and more into his own. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the state of Georgia already. You look in their quadrant of the bracket. I mean, you've got Colquitt County in that quadrant with Georgia running back commit Jay Lamar. You've got Norcross in that quadrant with Georgia defensive line commit Carter Lucky. We've already talked about Grayson, and everyone knows about them. But you've got Carrollton down there as team 1 out of Region 2, and they've really just been taking care of business. And I tend to think whoever comes out of that quadrant will be playing for a state championship, and I think will be battle-tested enough coming out of that quadrant that they'll probably be the team that I would predict to win the state championship coming out of that quadrant. I just think Carrollton's playing the type of football right now where I would not pick against them against anyone. And that goes for Grayson, that goes for Buford. And I think they're a team that's been trying to get over the hump for the last couple of years, and I think they're right there.
Again, that was recruiting analyst for Dogs 247, Ben Walk. Ben, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, you all. Always appreciate y'all having me.
We'll be right back after this short break with our own version of a bracket show. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. We are at the Breda Pest Management Sports Desk, we thought it would be a good idea to have a little bit of fun and take a look at our own version of a bracket show, yet with Thanksgiving food. But before we get into that, there's another important holiday that I have to mention. It is our very own Hayden Gilbert's birthday. Just want to give him a shout out today. Super happy to always have Hayden here with us, and we're really excited to celebrate his birthday with a bracket show tonight. But you're going to get our live reaction with this bracket that we're going to take a look at now. We're just going to kind of debate this food and see what we think would be the state finals with Thanksgiving food. Let's take a look. Okay, guys, so first we have turkey and ham. I'm always going to pick turkey over ham. What are y'all's thoughts?
For sure, turkey. I've never been a ham guy.
Turkey all day.
Okay, so we're gonna have turkey for that. So then after that, we're gonna have gravy and cranberry sauce facing off with turkey. I don't even need to pick either. I can already take turkey to the next round because I don't like either of those.
Yeah, last year I had never tried gravy or really given it a chance. I did. It's pretty good. I'm gonna have to go with gravy.
I'd probably go with gravy, but I agree that turkey's going to win that next round either way.
That's right. Okay, now let's take a look. Next we have stuffing versus mac and cheese. For me, this is a no-brainer. If you know how to make the right type of mac and cheese is going to win any day over stuffing.
Yeah, it's very tough. I've actually become a little addicted to stuffing, though. I have these Trader Joe's chips that are stuffing flavored. I don't know. I feel like when it gets colder, when it's later in November, I'm really going to be craving it. I'm going stuffing.
Give me that mac and cheese.
Okay, so we're taking mac and cheese for the win there. We'll go ahead and execute that. But now we have mashed potatoes and sweet potatoes. Personally, I'm a sweet potatoes girl through and through. I'm going to take sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes to me is just not it. I've got to go mashed potatoes. I'd rather eat anything but sweet potatoes.
I'm a mashed potatoes guy. Give me the mashed potatoes.
No, okay. So we'll have mashed potatoes override sweet potatoes right there. But next we're gonna have corn casserole and green bean casserole. And my hot take of the show today is if you like green bean casserole, you might have some problems. I'm gonna take corn casserole.
I'm going green bean casserole.
I'm going green bean.
Yes.
What? Okay, so we're gonna override my pick right there as well. Next we have pumpkin pie and apple pie. No brainer. Pumpkin pie for the win.
Ooh, I'll go pumpkin pie. I've eaten quite a bit of it over the years. It's pretty good, but only in that specific setting. I'm not going to eat it year-round.
I disagree. Give me that apple pie.
Okay, well, still, me and Craig are going to agree on that pumpkin pie. We're going to go ahead and override that, take pumpkin pie to the next round. Then we're going to have Hawaiian rolls and yeast rolls. I'm Hawaiian rolls.
Hawaiian rolls.
Hawaiian rolls.
Perfect. Next, we have hot cider and hot chocolate. Again, if you like hot cider, you might be a little odd. I'm taking hot chocolate.
Ooh, I'm going with hot cider.
I'm going hot chocolate.
All right, Craig, I'm going to toss this off to you and let you break down the next round for us.
Okay, so yeah, we've got, it looks like turkey against gravy. I feel like you guys both said turkey.
Turkey for
so
the
I'm outvoted right there. The mac and cheese against mashed potatoes. I feel like you guys would go with mac and cheese.
Absolutely.
Mac and
All
cheese.
right, so then we got green bean casserole against pumpkin pie.
That's a no-brainer because you would always pick sweets over healthy foods. I'm going to take that pumpkin pie for the win.
I'm not sure Craig would.
Yeah, I'm going green bean casserole.
I'm going pumpkin pie, though.
Okay. So pumpkin pie advances. We got the Hawaiian rolls against hot cider.
Hawaiian rolls.
Hawaiian rolls.
Okay, so now we've got, let's see. It is going to be turkey versus mac and cheese.
Ooh, that's a hard one, but I'm going to pick mac and cheese because you can eat it with more, it's more tasty, and it has more seasoning. I'm taking mac and cheese.
Yeah, but this is Thanksgiving, and there's only one thing that's a guarantee at Thanksgiving, and that is turkey.
All right, so we'll get turkey will advance. I can't go against it because I picked stuffing over mac and cheese. So turkey's going to advance to, I believe, the finals. We've got, was it pumpkin pie against Hawaiian rolls?
That's it.
Ooh. I'm going to go Hawaiian rolls.
I'm going Hawaiian rolls.
Yeah, I feel like I could, yeah. So, all right, so then turkey versus Hawaiian rolls. That is...
I'm still going to stick with my Hawaiian rolls.
Give me a turkey slider.
Yeah, like, turkey's more versatile, I guess. You can do the Cajun style. You can deep fry, hopefully not blow up your house. I think turkey ends up winning it, but I feel much better than last year when I hadn't tried a lot of these. I probably angered some people.
So we will have our real bracket show here tonight starting at 7:30. We've got to talk about it all day today, but you can find that on Atlanta News First or the Peachtree Sports Network. Guys, what are you most looking forward to about tonight's show?
Hanging out with Rusty, hanging out with you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm looking forward to hanging out with y'all guys for 3 hours, and y'all are stuck with me.
And guys, then I also want to ask, we've been talking about predictions. Just give me 3 classifications and 3 predictions for both of you.
Grayson in 6A, even though a lot of people are trying to convince me otherwise, I'm sticking with them. I'm going Creekside in 4A, and I've got a hot take in 2A. I'm going Morgan County.
So at the lowest classification, I'm going with my boys down in Lincoln County. I think the Red Devils finally get another championship. They're 12th. 3A, I'm going to stick with Sandy Creek. There's a lot of people trying to convince me otherwise. I think Sandy Creek's going to be really good. And then for 6A, I'm going to stick with Grayson. I've been on them all year. I think they're going to win a second straight state championship.
And I'm going to switch it up a little bit, but we're going to have 2A. I'm going to take Carver Columbus. They have Jarvis Jones, came from UGA. I'm super impressed at how he's been able to run that program. For private, I'm taking Hebron Christian, going back-to-back. Super impressed with what we've seen from that program. And then at D2, I'm going to take Clinch County for the win. Super excited to see what they're able to do. Again, you can tune in here starting at 7:30 for our bracket show. As always, thank you for tuning in with us, and we will be right back here tonight.
We saw some squirrels.
Okay, hot
What
take.
happens after you graduate? Will you go to the next level? Will people have your back in the heat of battle? Will you still train like a champion in the pursuit of greatness? You will when you become an IBEW electrical worker. Join our team. Visit IBEW613.org.
We saw some squirrels were trying to get into the attic. I hear those squirrels still scampering through because I didn't go through those services initially.
Our job is to go up there and figure out where they're getting in and trap and remove and get those unwanted guests out. But then the next big step is not just seal the entry point where the critter got in, but seal the entire roof line. The most common mistake is only sealing the entry point you see.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.